Woo!
It's a Monday.
It is indeed a Monday.
It's like it was almost a holiday weekend or something.
In a weird way, yeah, I agree. It was a good weekend, though. It looks like you guys had a great time camping.
Yes. Oh my gosh, amazing. And it goes even with what you'll talk about later. It's just taking that time for
Yeah.
yourself, for your family. Um, and that was so needed. I think I've been working 7 days a week. I mean, it's easy when, Leo works every other weekend. So,
Right. Well, and so, I was telling someone the other day, and someone walked past my office and they were like, "Are you always on a webinar?" And I'm like, if I'm sitting here, there's so many webinars going on these days. I tune them in, and if it sounds good, I pay attention. And if it's not so great, I tune them out. But since this whole COVID and, not necessarily doing a lot in person, there seems to be so many more webinars or Zoom meetings or whatever so that we can all connect.
well, all the conferences have gone like online. So, but I mean, the great thing about all this is that we can go to all of them now. So we got to do the BOC, although I really wanted to go to San Diego.
I know, me too.
Tom Ferry. So it's like we wouldn't have been able to go for BOC and then turn around, and we've never really been able to go to Tom Ferry because of school.
Well,
BOC, so it's kind of cool that you can do all these, and then you have the Florida Realtor Convention and.
Yep. Yeah, it's been really cool, honestly, but very time consuming as well. But it's so many more things that I'm able to see and learn and do because I can do it while I'm still at the office, still working, still
on your time.
Yeah, on my time. And a lot of them they have, they'll give you the webinars after the fact if you are a registered participant. So then if you can't see them all at that time, you see them all later. So.
No, so I think that's kind of cool. I want to do the Jared James is in a couple weeks, so I was really looking forward to finally heading to the west side of Tennessee and going to Nashville, but I guess that'll be another day.
Another time for that. Yes.
Another time for that. Plenty of time, right? Plenty of time.
I know. So today we're talking about 5 ways to consistently build your business. And that's the thing about this industry and this business. You have to keep working on it. You have to keep working on it to build it. Otherwise you get stagnant or you don't, it doesn't just come. I remember one time when I was talking about business planning and how at the beginning of the year, I set my goals. I think I made a Facebook post, something like I'm halfway to my goal or whatever. And one of my friends said, goals, don't you just, take it when people call you and they want to sell or buy? And I was like, oh Lord, if that's the way we did it, I'd, sell 10 houses a year. No, you have to set the goal. You have to know how many you want to do. And then you have to figure out how you're going to get there,
Mm-hmm.
So it is just a constant thing. So the first thing really is to identify what your passion is, whatever that is, whether it's I love condos and I'm going to completely focus on oceanfront condos, or I love working with the military, or first-time home buyers, or I love being a teacher. And so maybe I'll create a team and then I can lead my team and be the teacher that way, if that's what you prefer. Because when you're passionate about something, people want to connect with people that are passionate.
And I think people feel that passion, if whatever it is. I mean, it could be, a specific kind of buyer or age, the millennials, or even people who like dogs. So if you're, with a nonprofit, to just, I think if you find whatever you're passionate about, people feel that energy, and that's super important, I think.
Well, I mean, you're a great example of that, honestly. You were doing property management type stuff, right?
A love-hate relationship for sure.
Yeah, but you were in real estate and you were, doing your thing, and this whole marketing, social media, training kind of is what
I created my own job because any brokerage I was at was kind of like, no one's ever going to look for a house online, way back around 2000, I guess.
Yep.
You're still using those books.
Right.
Videos and a typewriter, but I don't know. Then social media came out and it still was like, oh, you're wasting your time. No one's, and I saw like these pages. Like, it's free. It's like, oh my gosh. And I mean, it certainly has changed and evolved, but yeah, I think I pretty much just kind of made my own job, but I saw the value and how my voice could reach further than I ever thought possible. And because of that, so many other doors and opportunities have happened. But I think that's just because I'm passionate, try to give value and help others. And I think anybody else who does that, it just comes through and it comes back to you twofold. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And even if your passion is you like to do video, there's a lot of agents out there doing some really great video. That isn't like the video that we see on, $1 million listing. It's more grassroots type video. I mean, do it within your budget. But if you're passionate about that, pull that into your business and find a way to connect with your people through video,
Right.
if that's what it is. So whatever it is you're passionate about, identify that and find a way to bring that into your business so that you can promote and further your business.
Yeah, like Rob Levy, he loves Great Danes. He works with a Great Dane nonprofit. A portion of his sales go to this. So he did a video and it has like all these Great Danes in it. And, but he put it into like real estate. And oh, by the way, with every closing, I donate, blah, blah, blah. But that's his passion. So he finds Great Dane people. And I think it doesn't have to be like a specific niche, although I think that's super important too. But I think it's just, what are you passionate about? Let's incorporate that into your business model and how you're advertising and stuff like that. Candace with the bullies.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a bulldog, you're going to be drawn to, Candace and her bullies and her advertising for sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The next is to commit to the profession. So you need to prepare financially to be able to do this business. It's not, you definitely need some money in your bank account to get started because it takes a while to get your first deal, so, but you have to commit to it. I see in a lot of the chat groups, how many people have second jobs, how many people are just doing this part-time. And I get that. I mean, it's hard to launch into this business, but unless you're actually focusing on the business, you're not going to continue to get more business.
It's hard when you're trying to do all these multiple things in different jobs. You can't really give 100%. And real estate's just super hard if you have another job because you have to be available when buyers and sellers are available and other agents to be able to answer, get the questions for the showings or, especially right now with the real estate market so crazy, you have to be able to be available.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, houses are coming on the market and they're having multiple contracts within 4 hours, so if you're not there for your buyer to show them that property, on the demand, they're not going to get it, and you're going to be frustrated. They're going to be frustrated. But it is, once you are making money in this business, the possibility and the potential is really limitless. It's really down to how hard you're willing to work. But you need to make sure you're prepared from the beginning, and also. And I think I'll talk about this a little later, and this is the big part of our business planning and to prepare for the future so you can expand, So that's it. Make some and set some actionable goals. So I want more money is not an actionable goal, but I want to buy a new car. I need to save for my child's college education and I need this much saved. I'm going to be giving this much to my 401k, IRA, SEP IRA, however you're saving money. I want to buy a mountain house in Tennessee so I can be near Heather sometimes, maybe that's a goal that I'll set, so find what your goal is and work towards that goal. But just, I want more money is not, I think we all want more money, right?
And I think that's great when we do our business planning, which starts in 2 weeks, everyone.
I know.
I think that's great because we do work backwards. How much do we need to have to build, to have these goals met? Whether it is to pay off debt, buy a new car, whatever that is that your goal is, family vacation. What do I need to accomplish that? Here's, and how much goes towards marketing or, to IRS, all that. And then what do we need to make? And then we work on a plan
to get there.
to get there. And then it's, you know, breaking down by quarterly, by monthly, by daily, you know, and I think that's super important because you can always, you know, every quarter I go back to what were my goals because it feels like forever ago that I do them. But I think that's the part I like about the vision board because it's a visual. But it is important. And especially, gosh, the year that we've had, it's like, go to your goals. Like, what did you have set for third and fourth quarter that you could be working on right now?
Yep.
You know, when we were slow. Right now we're super crazy. So it's like, I hope everyone took advantage of that. It's kind of like everyone got this month break that we couldn't do anything. So it's like, what can we be working on that once, you know, the spring, summer, you know, ended up being summer and spring market. Hopefully everyone took a full advantage of that.
Yep. Exactly, for sure. Then the next is really become an expert. You know, anybody can say they're an expert, and it's funny, you know, advertising or whatever, you know, I'm the Brevard County expert, or I'm the Space Coast expert, or I'm the condo expert, or I'm the whatever it is, but really don't just say you are, become it. Because when people start to ask you questions, because you've told them you're the expert, you need to be able to answer those questions, you know? So know what's going on in your market. You know, I'm big on the stats. So I like to look at the stats so that I can quote them so I understand. You know, we have, you know, two months of houses on the market. And National Association of Realtors says we have 3.4 months of houses on the market. So we are even way below the national average. And that's an important thing to say, you know, otherwise, if you're not, how do I say, presenting or providing your clients with the expert information. So it's constant studying, it's constant learning, it's look at the hot sheet every day, multiple times a day to see what's listed and what's not listed. You don't want to go on a listing appointment and have the seller say, oh, did you see the house that came on the market this morning? And you're like, oh, what house? You know, you want to be able to say, oh, yes, blah, blah, blah. This is what I saw. This is what I know. This is what I think. So that you truly are the expert on what's going, you know the demographics, know what the percentage of increase is, say, in house sales. Know, you know, it's funny, condos get a bad rap sometimes, and not necessarily in our area, but people coming from other areas, you know, in other areas, condos are not such a big thing. So sometimes people will say, oh, condos aren't a good investment. Well, if you know the stats and you know the information, you can get rid of that objection and say, no, condos are a great investment, especially here on the ocean, on the beach, you know, as long as you're knowing. But no, become an expert. Know if someone, or I was reading this over the weekend, somebody might ask a question, whatever the question is this, I'm Irish, so I'll say this, is this an Irish friendly neighborhood?
Stop.
But, you know, we can't necessarily answer that question, or you want to be careful depending specifically on what the question is. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. But you want to be able to know where to send them to get the information.
I actually had somebody that is interested in the area I'm at. So I talked to them, and that was their thing, is I guess they had moved to like North Carolina, but they were considered an outsider coming from Florida. And it was just like awkward. And I was like, no, like people would see my Florida driver's license and it immediately sparked up a conversation, because almost everybody here is a transplant from Florida, mostly like on the West Coast, Pensacola, Sarasota area. But I was like, no, like it was a conversation starter for sure. And now I have a Tennessee. Now I'm like one of them, other than that I don't have that cute accent going on, you know. I wish, but I was like, no. So I get that. I mean, I guess you do kind of get that question.
I mean, people kind of want to be near people that are like them. So you may not want to directly answer the question, because it could be a what's that word? Protected class type of a question. So you may not want to answer that, but you want to be able to say, well, the Irish American Club is located over here. Call them and they can give you the demographics of how many Irish folks are in town, or whatever. I mean, we were originally from New York when we moved here, and, you know, my parents joined many groups that were New York specific or inspired so that they can, meet and be around other New Yorkers, which is just funny to me. Why move to Florida if you want to be around New Yorkers? We should have just stayed in New York, but whatever. But you know what I'm saying? So, if you can't necessarily answer that question, make sure you have the information to point them in the right direction. Kind of like when they say, oh, is there a lot of crime in this neighborhood? Your answer is, well, let's call the sheriff's department, or this is City of Rockledge. Why don't you call the City of Rockledge? Here's their non-emergency number. They're happy to answer any of your questions, or go to this website to find out that information. So become the expert. And that doesn't always mean have all the answers, but be able to point them in the right direction to get the answers as well.
And I know when someone's like newer and they're, they pick their farm areas, like anytime a listing goes active, you should be going to look at these houses so that, that way, in 5 years, you've seen almost all the different houses, the different floor plans, the different builders, and it really helps educate yourself and just knowing what's out there, especially when you do have a listing. You've been to these other houses to be able to compare them accurately because you've been inside of them.
True, very true. It's, when I started selling real estate, I was in Connecticut, and there, the houses were built in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and every single house was different. So we did caravan back then, but there it was, you really needed to do that because every house was different. I lived on a block with however many houses. I think there was 30, and each house was completely different, and so you needed to really understand the differences in the houses. Here, if you're new and you start going to neighborhoods and start learning the builders, even if it's 30 years old, Palm Bay General Development Corporation, you start to learn those floor plans and what's what. Or here in Viera,
we were born there, we all have lived in one of those.
Correct, right. So it's the same thing in Viera. There's Lennar and there's Viera Builders and there's whoever else is building, Joyal, you'll start to learn their floor plans and know what's built in which neighborhood. There was a very famous floor plan years ago by Sun Castles, where I don't believe they're in business anymore. And it was the one where you walk into the courtyard and the pool was in front of you and there's the guest suite over here with the bathroom and the main house over here. That's like one of those floor plans everyone knew. You see it now when it comes up as a listing and you can tell that's what it is and and if you're a person who saves floor plans, you can pull it out of your archives and go, this is what the floor plan looks like. Is this really something you want? Because bedroom 3 is off to the side. I don't think you want to put the 2-year-old over there, So remember to become the expert on whatever it is that's your passion and that you decide you want to know, and then broaden that to the real estate business. And then one of the biggest things in this business is the ups and downs. And this year is a really good example of that.
That's easy. I think we just put like 5 years into like 4 months or whatever.
Yeah. So be prepared for the ups and downs. Make sure you have a plan and you stick to your plan and you follow your plan and you readjust your plan. Because so like you were saying with COVID and with figuring out, what you were planning for third and fourth quarter, do you have to adjust because you need to adjust and do more business because in March we did no business, Thankfully it picked up in April, and certainly May, June, July, and August have been great months, but do you have to compensate or figure out how to do that better? So be prepared for the ups and downs. And I think the biggest, and this is a great lead into our business planning in 2 weeks, is plan your business and work your plan.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I love the most about real estate is it's always changing. And it's just a matter of, I know we're always kind of saying we just have to adjust our sales a little bit. When short sales came out, we definitely had to adjust back then. But that's to me, it's like what makes real estate not boring at all is because it is always changing.
Constantly learning new things, constantly figuring out how to apply those new things. You're right. That's what's exciting. It's like back in the day, like you mentioned the books. Back in the day, they had the books. You literally
use the books.
Yeah.
You had a whole office full of the books and the huge plat maps.
Yeah. Right. We have some here.
I know. It just brings back memories. Yeah. But yes, and to me, it's like I remember when I first got into real estate, it was just, moving back from college and just kind of landed. But my grandmother, was an agent. I just thought it was the most boringest job ever. I guess, riding my bike to her open houses and serving cookies to, the couple people that actually came, and then putting the phone, because there were no cell phones, inside of an oven mitt, inside of a drawer, just so we could try to have Thanksgiving or Easter dinner without, the phone constantly ringing. So I just was like, no way.
I can't even imagine like when you still had the phone on the wall and clients calling you at home.
And it was that olive green, puke green phone color and yellow. I remember that. But I remember having to put in an oven mitt. I don't know why we just.
Well, because when you take it off the hook, then it would make that noise once it was. And there was no way to turn the volume down. Yeah, there was no way to turn the volume down. That's why they put it in the oven mitt, I think. But we went from books, and then we went to online. And when I bought my first house, it was books. When I was in real estate, it wasn't live. So you would download by 8 a.m. all the stuff from the day previous would show up. So if you had a new listing, you wanted to have it in before 8 a.m. because then that would happen. And then you wouldn't know what happened with all those listings till the next day. I mean,
we would take disposable cameras to take our pictures, have to have them developed, even though we only could have 7 photos. The MLS number on the back and the address, and then drive them to the board for them to go into Stellar. Like, I think it was Stellar back then. And it was like a DOS program.
Wow.
Remember, I thought I was like Mac Daddy because I figured out how to do a slideshow on a floppy drive that I would mail to people and have instructions like go to A, to get the drive, and then do these prompts, and it would do a slideshow.
Wow. I mean, amazing, and now we're here today with people buying houses completely virtually. It's just unbelievable, it really is. We've come a long way, but
I feel like that was that long ago.
No, it really wasn't.
I guess I feel old now, but it's constantly evolving, just like technology, and it only is just going faster and faster now, but
it is indeed. It is indeed.
It's always been learning.
So for your weekly activity, you want to be encouraging to others. I mean, I think we do this thing in our private Facebook group every Saturday, which is, tell us your wins of the week. And I do it mainly because, sometimes you don't always want to post that out to the world in Facebook, but it's nice to be able to encourage each other. Oh, wow, you did that. Oh, and sometimes the wins are after some really difficult situations, but it's a good source of encouragement for each other because then you might connect with another agent in the office and go, oh my gosh, I went through the same ridiculous thing. How did you make a win out of it? Oh, maybe I'll try that. And always, which is where we started, promote playtime and family time. This weekend, for those of you who know Kelsey in our office, she's getting married in December. So we threw her bridal shower, which was super awesome. It was great to get together with people in person. There's about 20 people and celebrate her and her fiance, Matt. So that was, it was nice to have that fun downtime sitting around, just, playing bridal games and drinking wine and opening presents.
like trying to be normal,
right?
What the new normal will be, or
right. It's funny because the caterer delivered the food and the cake person delivered the cake, and they were all wearing masks, and it just still startles me a little bit when I see it. Just, I don't know why, just because it just does, because it's still not necessarily normal to me, but I feel like we'll be doing that for a long time. We'll be doing it for a long time.
So it's the new norm. And then the thought of the week is logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. So it's just, in this weird time, it doesn't have to always, life just doesn't make sense right now in itself. But I think you just have to use imagination to help you reach your goals. And we're constantly evolving and learning new things. We've learned so much through the circumstances that we've all been put in, like, the Zooms and the StreamYards and going live and just doing, I think we can all reflect backwards and be able to take something that we've been able to learn for our business. And sometimes that does take these weird, odd circumstances, but using our imagination to help get us to those goals and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So that's all I've got for this week.
That's all. And next week we've got a great plan, and then we'll put a link for registration for our business planning, which starts October, whatever that first Monday in October.
Yep.
So that'll be fun. And until then, wake up, kick ass, and repeat.
Have a great week, everyone.